they were diverting money away from public schools. Well, you could make that argument for we spent $338 billion in this budget on stuff, on everything, right? And I think we spent $135 billion on public education. That leaves $203 billion that we spent on other stuff. And so you can make the argument that $203 billion was diverted from potentially being spent on public schools. If you think transportation is important, you could make the argument that everything outside of transportation that we spent on was diverted away from transportation. And so I don't think it's a valid argument, bottom line. That being said, this bill we negotiated very carefully along with the HB2 that we passed, and they were both negotiated simultaneously, and it was a full package deal. And so in order to get that increase in funding that we did in HB2, we got vouchers in whatever the VAT bill number was. But we did some good things in there. I thought we added an amendment in there in the education savings account bill to make sure that in order for a school to get this money, they had to have been in operation for at least 2 years. So that will prevent fly-by-night private schools from coming into town and it's taking all the money. And so we thought that was good, particularly for rural Texas, where we don't have private schools, and you have the potential of just private schools just coming in and showing up and trying to make some money. If you had to be in existence for 2 years, and you had to do an operational, and you had to be accredited and all that stuff for 2 years already, that pretty much makes sure that we're not going to get these fly-by-night situations coming through rural Texas or really anywhere. And so I thought that at the end we negotiated something good. But I think primarily I will say that parents tend to want the best for the kids, and when it comes to education, they look for the best schools they can send them to, for the best opportunity. We see that everywhere. Even here in McAllen, my mother taught and worked at McAllen ISD, and my sister worked at McAllen ISD schools, and I still see it today, where you have this, you got the elementary schools in Silas and Milam and Morris, the middle school, I think it is, where everybody wants to send their kids to those schools. And they fill up real quick, and you have that kind of thing going on everywhere. It's not just here. And I think that's a big thing. It's a helping thing for an education system, where you have a good school, people want to send their kids there, and then the effect it has on the other schools is like they got to up their game to make sure that they compete, to make sure that they are able to keep enough students in their school to have a school. I think fundamentally, overall, competition is good for a system, and I think that that's what we passed. When we talk about accountability and public schools having more accountability and more mandates than private schools, I think that over time, every mandate that a public school has, or every requirement that they have, has come about because there was an issue, and the legislature went and addressed it, and so now you got more accountability measures or more standards. Oftentimes you go in and we take them away because we see that they're not necessary. We're always looking for the opportunity to take some of these standards away. But I think when it comes to private schools, obviously, as we go on, as we're now in that business, I think we're going to look at each I think over time you're going to see them to address situations. The legislature's going to come in and address them. Add accountability, add measures that they've got to now do that wasn't there before because we're addressing situations as they arise. And I also think we're always looking at ways to reduce accountability or to reduce standards. And if in fact they're
agreed, you would spend money on education, you're going to allocate it, when you take $1 billion, so when you give it to private schools, you have diverted $1 billion from public education. Second to that, it's really, really unfair. He says competition's great. Well, if competition's great, then hold those private schools to the same accountability standards as our public schools. Make them take the same tests. Make their teachers have the same accreditations. Make them take students, because they'd also do cherry pick their students. And so the reality is this: it was the largest transfer of wealth in history we've ever seen. There's no school in the Rio Grande Valley that's a private school that costs $10,000. It's just basically a credit for the rich to be able to offset their expenses. And the reality is that there's really no private schools around. You only have $10,000 in tuition, and as you're going to have to pay for that, you don't have it, you don't get it. And so this is really, really a scam. And I would tell you that any explanation or any way to circumvent it is worse off. The reality is it's a scam. It's the biggest scam we've ever been sold, and there's no one that can convince you otherwise. Education is wholly. I just told you the reason your property taxes are up are because the state skirts things. And the state put in that $1 billion and offer it to you as a tax break. I can't believe it's up to beneficial. But I'll leave it at that.